I've eaten a lot of raccoon. Yes. The answer is yes. And I've eaten it. I've eaten it hunting. I've actually had it served by my mom at the table away from hunting. And I have eaten raccoon. And yes, it's not uncommon at all. I'll tell you something that is one of my favorites is squirrel. And it's wonderful, and my mother could do a great job of it. And we all had our favorite pieces, and my dad and sister, I have one sibling, a sister, and they would fight over, not fight, but my mom and I, they were just my sister and I as far as siblings. My mom and I wouldn't even ask for the brain in a squirrel.
Oh, man.
And delicious, seriously.
My dad loves cow
my
brain.
sister always got it, or my dad.
The fight over the brain. Jerry?
Well, good morning, good people. Mark Holmes here, of course, with my buddy Cowboy Jobu, who is trying to basically slip in like Homer Simpson into the bushes and disappear. As always, I'd like to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. Here we are, guys. We have one game left, and probably the Commanders looking like they may be locked into a wild card spot versus the Eagles. That's what it looks like right now, that they'll be going to Philadelphia, and probably you'll see them probably resting players. I would, and it's kind of crazy that here we are seeing the Eagles mollywop us, Saquon go over 2,000 yards, the Commanders finding a way to win in overtime, and we are left, even the New York Giants, although it kind of hurt them, winning yesterday against the Colts, scoring 45 points. And we are left with the Dallas Cowboys in 2 games against the Philadelphia Eagles with 13 points and 9 turnovers. Yeah. And them scoring 75 points. 75 points. If you're a betting man, you can take this bet right here, and you can, I don't know if it's on BetUS, but definitely check out BetUS. They do still have the YouTube 150 promo code where you can get 150% matching on your deposits, on your first 3 deposits of up to $2,000. But you can be a betting man, and I will bet that Mike McCarthy and crew does not get fired. In fact, I can say that is the biggest guarantee I can give you, that Mike McCarthy will not be fired. Dak Prescott is going to talk to Jerry and say, Mike McCarthy's our guy. I believe in him, and yada, yada, yada. You've heard Micah Parsons and crew, say we need to try and keep this thing together, and so on. At this point, I can't be mad about I'm torn up inside. Yesterday, another piece of me died with all the other pieces that died this season. But at the moment, it doesn't matter. It's done. I can't change what I said 30 seconds ago any more than I can change what has transpired this season. I can only deal with this moment and what's coming out of my mouth next going forward. And that's where we have to be. I want to bring back my brother from another mother. Nothing but the best. Law Nation. Law who, my God, sometimes people say things to you that are so profound that they stick with you. One of those things was what my man DMV said probably about 5 years ago. He said, and it's one of those things that's like, yeah, you're right. And it seems obvious, but you don't realize it till somebody actually says it. When you control the middle of the field, you control the field. And at that time, we were talking about safeties, and our safeties were bad, and our interior defensive line was bad. We couldn't control the middle of the field, and we still can't. We've gotten better, but we still don't. You know, when Saquon, when running backs are rushing for 100 yards, you're not really controlling the middle of the field. And, some of this is we've lost a lot of our starters. When Brandon Cook is the highest paid player that's still left on our roster, you've been decimated by all your top-heavy players. They're gone. So you can't expect to win on that. But another profound statement that I remember after, the last Eagle game, my brother from another mother, Law Nation, said, the Cowboys never draft to compliment. They always draft to replace. And that may not click right away with what he means. What it means is we end up letting go of Dante Fowler. We end up letting go of Dorrance Armstrong. We end up letting go of Hankins. We end up letting go of Stephon Gilmore. And so now we draft players to replace those guys. What you're hoping for is when you replace somebody, if you were not good enough to win a Super Bowl, then you must improve. You can't just maintain or possibly take a step back, because more times than not, that's what's happened to us. We let go of a good player and we say, we're going to plug it in with somebody who might not have played for a year, or somebody who didn't go through OTAs and training camp and think that's going to work. Let's go back 4 years. And this, I want you to listen to this because, see, we are in Groundhog Day, where we continue to do the same thing. We have a disappointing end of the season. We have the Joneses that tell us, we have to do better, we must do better, and this, that, and the other. We're going to go all in and things. And then we do the same thing. But this was 4 years ago.
All right, so it seems as if though this team do what they want to do.
They sure do.
We are the same. We like to go out there and do the sign our own guys, which is not bad. It's not a bad philosophy. We brought back Sean Lee for another year.
I'm going to say we sign our own guys when they're cheap. We believe in our own guys that don't cost a whole lot of money. Go on.
Cup of coffee. Also, with that being said, we re-signed Anthony Brown. And Sean Lee, I can see that because we got a big hole as it relates to the linebacking core. We don't know. We definitely don't know what, dare I say, an LV is going to do. And outside of a Jalen Smith, who the other guy will be. And on top of that, the backups and these sorts of things. So bring back a Sean Lee is not that bad of a situation.
How is that different than bringing back Zeke? We had a hole at running back because we let Tony Pollard go. We didn't draft anybody. So we bring back a blast from our past in Zeke Elliott. We're just trying to maintain.
Now, when you start talking about Anthony Brown, I think he's a serviceable guy. He is. And not bad at all. So what the Cowboys do is we go out and we look for deals, user-friendly deals, basically, especially if the guy's long in the tooth. We kind of bring him in for a cup of coffee, and that's just the flow and the nature of it. So Gerald McCoy, I kind of like that deal, believe it or not, but it's still like a situation where I can say this. Don't let that be the only pick that we do as it relates to the free agency. We still got a willing deal. Maurice Kennedy, he's a grimish type of guy, 6'1", 195 pounds, but he is what he is, a backup, a special teams guy. So the draft, maybe they're looking at it to fill and plug in some situations there, but I'm with the belief is that you got to figure out ways to get some veteran help out there. Somebody that can make plays, turnovers, and takeaways. I do know that you probably pay a little bit more money on the front end, but on the back end, at least you know you got a known commodity. It's time out for, hey, let this guy develop. Let's wait 3 years and let's see what's going to happen with him. This defense need help. This defense need help, flat out help. So when we start to look at this total picture and we say to ourselves, how can we improve just the small things? You're going to have to make some wills and deals. That just you got to be willing and dealing, basically. And on top of that, that's the only way that I can see to improve this team, collectively speaking. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, yes, we have a big hole as it relates to the slot situation. Emmanuel Sanders' name been mentioning all throughout the Dallas Cowboys news and media. Now, he did spoke out against the Cowboys one year or a couple of months ago. He said that the fan base, that's all they do is talk. So it seems as if though he's been watching and listening in to those four-letter networks. Look, all fan bases talk. It just so happened that we are the biggest. And one can argue and say to everyone, we are the best. We are the best fan base out here. Let that sink into your mental. So all I can say is with this, I would like to see him on his team. I think that he can take the top off the defense. He can get separation inside. He's a good nuanced route runner. Everything that people liked about Cole Beasley, just add an extra spice to it, and that's who Emmanuel Sanders is, even at the age of 33, 34, however old he is. Now, I do hear a lot of people talking about, dare I say, a Desmond Bryant, bringing him back. Look, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to everybody understand what I'm saying. There's no hate at Dez Bryant. I would like for Dez Bryant to come back. Only under these conditions. Only under these conditions. He got to go to training camp. We got to see him out there in Oxnard. We got to see him going in competition one-on-one with the boys out there. We just can't wheel him out there, roll him out there, say, hey, throw up the X week 3 of the preseason. No, let this brother get some workout action with some true people, not no high schoolers and college guys. Shout out to Dez Bryant, boy. We would love to see him throw up the X. But
so here's the thing. We keep doing the exact same thing over and over and over again, thinking that it's going to work out different. That year when we signed Gerald McCoy, who got injured before training camp or early in training camp and was done, we also brought in Don Terry Poe, past his prime, overweight, did nothing. We brought in a veteran safety in Clinton Ha-Ha Dix, and he ended up getting the last laugh. He was cut before the end of training camp. And we ended up bringing in from Minnesota, I can't remember his name, but another defensive tackle. And basically, we got nothing. We continue to do the same thing over and over again. And back to Mike McCarthy, I can guarantee that he's not going to get fired because they don't fire him. They just don't re-sign him. He's not under contract after Sunday. None of them are. So there's no firing of Mike McCarthy. It's just, we're just hiring somebody else. The thing is, when you hear the Joneses are always selling us on our own guys. But guys, our own guys ain't winning shit. We're not winning shit. We get some good ones. We got Kayvon Turpin, who seemed to be a little bit miffed about, the play calling, about not going downfield. And you saw when we went downfield, it ended up being an interception. And unfortunately, I guess Kayvon Turpin doesn't realize that Cooper Rush has a noodle for an arm, and he can't get the ball down the field. And you guys don't get separation. He can't throw in tight windows. The ball is all over the frickin' place with Cooper Rush. You see how he leads, his wide receivers. The reason why CeeDee Lamb is not on the field anymore is because of ball placement. It's getting put in places where he's getting jacked the hell up. You people are asking for things to be done that people cannot do. Cooper Rush is an extremely good backup quarterback. But that's all he is. He is not an every down, every play, I can do all of it quarterback. But we keep getting sold by the Joneses on our guys. I love Jalen Tolbert, but out the box as a third-round pick when the Cowboys screwed the pooch and literally gave away Amari Cooper, as well as the other wide receiver to Miami, they sold us on, well, Jalen Tolbert. Jalen Tolbert is a decent receiver. But they have us made out to think he is Amari Cooper. We, me, my brother, and everything else, we go to training camp and we talk about how good Jalen Brooks and Jalen Tolbert look. The JJ brothers. Oh, my God. Like they're A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. And the Joneses will do what they do. They like their own players until they get expensive. Dorrance Armstrong was truly one of our guys. One of our guys. But you let him go. And I saw those guys that we let go going to the playoffs this week. I saw their coach, who was being supported by their franchise. They're going to the playoffs this week. And so what I was saying about Law, we don't draft to complement. We don't look and say, hey, we got a good defensive front. What can we do? What piece can we add to make Micah Parsons better? Because, see, this is where people seem to – the funniest thing to me is you get people that are doing great things. And because they can't do everything, we turn around and say, that guy's a bum. We need to get rid of him. See, you have to understand. See, I am fantastic at vision and seeing how something should look on a construction site. I can go in there and I can tell you this should go here, 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 here. My mind works that way. That's what I'm good at. But if you're asking me to draw it or to write it out, I can't spell worth a lick. It's not what I do. I have a certain set of skills that I'm exceptional with. The other ones, at best, average or below average. And that's the problem with the Cowboys. They believe we don't need specialized guys. We need guys that can play and do multiple things. So jack of all trades. And the Joneses will not go out there and recognize that you can turn things around. Now, you got to be smart. You can't just say, we're just going to sign free agents and we're automatically going to win. No, you got to sign the right ones. The Eagles, they perfected it. Did they hit on everyone? No, they didn't. But they don't make one mistake and then say, oh, my God, we're never going to do that again. And so we go through, and the good pieces that we have, we say, bye, too expensive. And then we look at over-the-hill players, journeymen, and hope that we can develop rookies to be stars. And then we as fans get mad at the guys that are out there. Jalen Tolbert is a good receiver. He's not a number one. He's not number two. He's a role player. Jalen Brooks, Jonathan Mingo, the receiving core that we put out there, it's not a good receiving core. So to turn around for Kayvon Turpin to say, oh, we should be launching the ball down the field, that's not what Cooper Rush does. You can't, listen, as many turnovers as we have, if you're saying, just chuck the ball deep, you do not have the players that you need to be successful. And that hamstrings the coach on what he can do. Now, he is a problem too with some of the play calling. the 3rd and 1, and we decide to go deep, cave on, and throw an interception? Yeah. As opposed to saying, let's run the football, Rico. The Cowboys being stubborn about Zeke Elliott and the running back by committee, it took them how long to find out that Rico is a legitimate running back? So the only way we break this cycle is by doing something different. And I don't know that the Cowboys are willing to do something different. If you keep Mike McCarthy, fine. Don't have a problem with it. Hurry up and decide it. And instead of doing the same bullshit, go out there and get yourself some talent. If you fire Mike McCarthy and you hire somebody else, fine, do that. Just hurry up and do it. And give them what they ask for to try and be successful. Get your hands out the cookie jar.
You know, the early turnovers and then not creating the turnovers back. We wasn't able to get the ball back today. So, you know, when you kind of lose that turnover battle against a top team in the NFL, that's kind of like the outcome. You know, we didn't get to play our brand of football today. So, obviously, it's upsetting when you come out and you're on the road and you're playing against a good team. You're like, okay, playing well, but can you consistently do it? And you kind of drop the standard like that. That hurts a lot. But you know, it's a learning experience.
Michael, 1 week, how would you say you are physically? It kind of looked like you were favoring something coming out of the cage.
Yeah, Saquon hit me, he chipped me right in my ribs. That kind of like shocked me a little bit. You know how it is. It was just a good, not anticipating rib shot. And it kind of sewed me up. But for the most part, man, I'm good. And I'm looking forward to finishing the season strong.
But that was you didn't pick it on that same play, did you?
Yeah.
When you knocked him out?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about the fast start? You guys defensively, I mean, they were not moving the ball. Did something just change? What do you think happened?
Big plays. I mean, you look at their play, I mean, they have 2 big runs and 3 good deep shots. Other than that, we made them earn it, and you take away we really take away the scoreboard. It was about 5 plays that decided this game. And you hate to say that because it's a lot of football, but you know, the 2 deep shots to Devontae Smith and the one to A.J. Brown, and then also Devontae on that slant. You know, for the most part, we're making them earn it. 3 yards, 2 yards, 4th and 1s, which is good football for when you're playing a team like the Eagles, But the other side is that when you play in those big teams, we understand big plays is going to happen. You understand, like, all right, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, some of the best guys in the league, they're going to make a big play. But you got to limit that big play margin from maybe from that 5 point to like 1. You can handle 1 big play, but you can't give a team like that many big plays.
This is your first losing season in a Cowboys uniform. I assume that's not something you envisioned going into this year with what this team accomplished.
Yeah, definitely not what I envisioned. Definitely not what I hoped for. You know, coming off a devastating playoff loss, and you say, hey, I was going to get the same team back, and we kind of know what it's going to look like, what the team's going to be like, and you go into the season and with the devastating injuries all across the board, between CD, Dak, Trey, you just can't catch a break. But you say, you know, there's other teams who are fully healthy and they're not where we're at right now. So I'm going to take that with a grain of salt and use that as motivation to go towards next year.
Like you guys were 12-5 for 3 straight years. The Eagles won the division today and Washington coming up. Just how do you look at the outlook of the NFC East moving forward and what you guys are going to have to do to get back on top of the division?
One, we're going to have to get healthy. We got, 3 or 4 starters who aren't coming back to mid next season. So we got to plan for that. We got to get healthy. We got to keep coming together. It's going to be a tough point, but as far as the division, it's going to be tough. I look at Jaden James as a franchise quarterback, so I'm going to be facing him for the next 18 years of my life. And you got Hurts, who's a franchise guy, so he's, so every team pretty much got a franchise guy that I'm gonna have to get used to. So And then, the Giants, they might go ahead and get a franchise guy. So, it's going to be a very difficult next couple years. It's going to be a very difficult couple years.
You ready for the season to be over and restart?
Oh, no, man. We watched a great video this week, and it's about, what you start, you finish, right? And that talks about character, and then it talked about, if you're a great football player, this is who you are. It's not what you do. So, I'm not going to go ahead and say, man, I wish the season was over. And then I'm watching the Super Bowl and be like, dog, I wish I was out there. You got to appreciate these games, these opportunities that we have. So when it comes to how we're going to finish the strong, I'm going to still give my best fight to the Commanders. This is who I am, man. I love this game. Sometimes you don't get the outcome and you don't accomplish what you want to accomplish, but the love don't change, your character don't change. It's just all part of the journey. So I know it's rough, but I'm saying stay true to who you are and watch how this thing change out.
All right, thank you, Micah.
Do this. And we are back, Brian, with your smile.
To summarize it, sorry, the dogs were barking and I turned the volume down. But to summarize this, you got to surround your playmakers with other talents to make them better. You can't rely just on Micah is going to be the whole defense and we're going to win just Micah. And we can't expect as fans to think that every game that Micah is going to get 2 sacks and 10 pressures, and a strip fumble so we can win on defense. There's 11 guys out there on each side of the ball, and you need to get the best 11 guys possible to be successful. It's all in Jerry Jones's hands. Are we going to continue to do the same thing that we have done for the last, I would say really since about 2012, 2013? It's when they stopped really getting free agents to help out. Brandon Carr was the last big one that we actually signed. And if they do, we're just headed for the same Groundhog Day. Have a great day, people. Tonight is our last Monday night football game of the season. Hard to believe that this season is over, but it is. Have a great day, people. Peace.